Welcome back to Color Class. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And today we're going to be discussing if you have been color analyzed wrong and how to tell. Because it recently came up. We were doing a Zoom meeting with somebody and they had been color analyzed, and we were reading over their questionnaire. When we do a color portfolio, we have a questionnaire, and they were mentioning, their warm hair, their warm skin tone, and with the images we were seeing were not lining up with that. And I kept saying, you look like Anne Hathaway. Like, to give you an idea of what this person looked like, I don't want to mention her name, but
you know who you are.
Just to give you an idea, she looked like Anne Hathaway. And we went into it thinking, okay, so this is not aligning with what she is going to say. And we started talking to her, and she said, well, I was color analyzed, and they told me I was an autumn. And, so we started getting more into that.
And they told her she needed to dye her hair to put red highlights in her hair to be her autumn.
Mm-hmm. So we started just discussing more and more. And then I said, okay, so what colors were you gravitating towards before you were color analyzed? And then that's where we started to hear the true of what was happening. So she was saying, more bold, cool colors that had some intensity to them, that were the complete opposite of a soft autumn palette or was she a warm autumn they did?
I don't recall because the moment exactly. She said autumn, I was like cringing and worrying. And
right.
You should tell yourself, just because you have a color analysis done professionally and you pay somebody to do it, that does not mean they're right. Yeah. And that's one of the most important reasons to come to color class and learn these principles for yourself, because there are a lot of people out there calling themselves color analysts and they're getting it wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's a disservice to you, because if somebody puts you in the wrong colors, what's going to happen? A lot. And we're here today to give you some principles that might tell you, did they get this right?
So as I was talking about before, speaking with our client, we asked, what colors did you used to gravitate towards? Because we tend to gravitate towards our best colors, and that's a really good indicator of what palette you fall into. Because for me, I gravitate towards these softer, warm-ish colors, and that kind of gravitates towards the palette that I wear. And I know I don't look great in bold colors. I know I don't look great in pastel colors that are like soft and cool. So it does help to gravitate towards a palette. And if a color analyst says, oh no, you're on the completely other end of the spectrum, then that could be a really good indicator that it might not be correct.
And one of the things that I like to tell people, do you know why you gravitate to colors that are pretty much good? Because when you put on an outfit,
get compliments,
and somebody says, you look fantastic in that outfit and that color, that locks itself into your brain, and you remember for years that somebody's told you that you looked amazing in a particular color. So you tend to gravitate to that color. And so that's like a process of evolution even. Somebody says to you, you look good, and you start filtering out these compliments. But what's a key indicator if you've been put in the wrong seasonal palette and you've gone out and bought all these colors that aren't right for you? If people stop complimenting you, that should make you think long and hard about what you're doing and what's been done to you.
Now, what we're not talking about is if you're somebody that tends to wear a lot of black. Now, some people look great in black if you are like a clear winter, for example. But if your entire wardrobe is black and that's all you wear, we're not talking about you. Okay? No. We're talking about somebody who gravitates towards a certain color palette. You walk into your closet and you see kind of this range and you're like, okay, this kind of gets me in the right general direction. But if you're somebody, like after I had my daughter, I gravitated towards black. I just did. I kind of hid.
You didn't show the spit up.
Right. I just kind of hid into black. But now, coming out of it, I started wearing more color. And again, you gravitate towards the colors that make you feel good. So just keep that in mind. Like if you're just like a black, white, and gray person, you could be, you know, a clear, cool winter, or you could just be gravitating towards black because it's easy. So if you're gravitating towards it because it's easy, that's a whole different thing than gravitating towards it because it looks beautiful on you.
I was organizing my closet, and that's been a labor of love for a little bit. And I realized that just about every color in my closet is either some version of robin's egg blue or the gray that I'm wearing. And I thought, why have I gone so heavily in this direction? And you know why? It's because people give me compliments when I'm wearing this color and when I'm wearing some version of robin's egg blue, teal, whatever. And I just stepped away from other colors I can wear, like raspberry and things like that. So we're not saying that because you've gravitated to one color or two colors that that's your entire palette. But we are saying that you owe it to yourself maybe to listen to us enough to determine what palette those colors that you gravitate to fit into. And don't stop listening to your inner voice because somebody tells you to go put in your very cool hair color, to go put red highlights, because this particular client said, I feel like it looks brassy. That's her inner voice. It's her inner voice telling her something isn't quite right. And people make mistakes. Color analysts make mistakes. You know, all you have to do is go look at some of the things people, you know, say about celebrities and what season they're in. And so you have to take it further. And if you're going to completely change your wardrobe, it's just like getting surgery. I recommend getting a second opinion. And no, I'm absolutely serious. I can't tell you how many people. Well, if you're going to get rid of an entire wardrobe based on somebody saying, well, you know, you look like Anne Hathaway, but you're an autumn, and you should go dye your hair red and get, you know, clothes that are in the autumn palette. Watch Color Class, or look at some other opinions. Or
I was going to say, actually, Patreon.
Oh,
if you
yes.
just posted your photo or picture on Patreon, that would be a really good indicator, because everyone there knows us, has watched our videos. So we have some really great, smart color analysts there. So I would highly recommend that.
Yeah, and they will tell you, and they will tell you in detail.
Right.
In fact, we recently had a client who posted, you know, a lot of her clothes, herself in a bunch of her clothes, and you could just see hearts on the good ones, and you know, didn't see anything on the ones that weren't so great.
Right. We're not mean. We're just saying which ones we love.
But I was watching our class, our people, our family, our color family, getting it right time after time after time after time. And I was just bursting with pride.
Right.
because so Sarah is absolutely correct. Patreon would be a great place to go and get your second opinion. Because if they're telling you to change everything about yourself, and this is not the first client we've had tell us this. Yes. This is only the most recent. If somebody's telling you to go, and another good indicator, if they tell you to dye your hair a different color.
If you are natural and they're telling you you need to dye your hair
to be a season, be a particular season.
Right. No. We've been there. We've done that. We've been told that, you know, I can't have red hair because I have neutral, cool leaning skin tone. I have cool eye. And obviously my warm hair doesn't match that. That's not a problem, because we will create palettes that work for whatever you naturally are. And there is no reason that you need to dye anything if you don't want.
Absolutely. And what we've found is if somebody puts you in a season, they shove you into a particular season, and you go buy the palette, and you notice that you can only pick out a couple of colors in the palette that actually work, and the rest of them, they're, you know, no, that's not just, no. That's another indicator that maybe they made a mistake.
So I'm going to go back to our 3 that we have.
Oh.
So really just to make sure we've got them all. New palette doesn't align with what you were gravitating towards. That's a really good indicator that it might not have been a correct color analysis.
Get your second opinion.
The second one is you're not getting compliments anymore, because then you might not be in the right colors, the colors that you're shifting towards. That's a really good indicator you're not getting those compliments. And third is you're looking washed out or tired. That is the most critical thing, because you will notice you looking more tired. If I switch my entire palette, I'm going to have more under eye circles. My skin's going to go sallow. I'm going to have redness around this area because I have really bad redness right here. So that's something that just pops out for me. But you'll also see fine lines and wrinkles. Your skin's not going to look as healthy. Those little tiny things are going to be indicators that it might not be right.
And you know what you didn't mention, since you're young and gorgeous? Jowls. If you notice that your chin has lost firmness and it's starting to look like it sags, that is a key indicator that you're not in the right color.
So going back to if the second opinion thing that you talked about, because I really do like that idea. Patreon is a really great spot for that. This is kind of us on the fly talking about it. And the more I think about it, I'm like, wow, Patreon would be a really great place to get your second opinion. Also, if you would like a color portfolio, a custom color portfolio, if you're somebody that has a kind of a mixture of warm and cool, that's really our specialty.
That is our specialty, is
right.
Pulling that all together to make you look luminous and gorgeous.
I will say a majority of our people come to us saying, yeah,
I get it right.
Right. I went to other people. They were trying to push me one way or the other, but I'm kind of this mix match of warm and cool together. So that's really where our specialty comes in. And we will start creating palettes for that. We're trying really hard to build palettes for purchase that you can use if you are a combination person. So keep looking on our website.
Patreon.
And Patreon, yes, absolutely. Also, if you want to follow us on social medias, the links are down below. And all of our links, I should say, are in the description down below. You can reach us, our PR, our P.O. box, everything that starts with a P is all down there. So thank you for joining us today. Lastly, I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
This has been another color class, and we'll see you in our next video.